Today on Week in Review, MLA Claire Rattay gave her thoughts on a terrace business owner being attacked. A report looks at how Prince Rupert's cruise season is going, and while Claire Rattay's offices aren't open yet, she still wanted to make something else clear. Hello, I'm Cael Maslin, and thanks for joining us here on Week in Review, where we cover all of the news here in the Northwest from this past week. The Gitxadehoop government is once again reminding the public that they have banned fishing on the Babine, Bulkley, Nass, Kispiox, and Skeeter rivers in areas that are Gitxad lands for anyone who isn't Gitxad. Gitxad hereditary chiefs say that sport fishing on any traditional area known as Adat is prohibited. The Gitxad government said that low waters and overexposed spotting beds overkill the fish stocks. They say that catch and release is playing with fish, which breaks centuries-old Gitxad law. They add that fish are a food staple for the Gitxad, and they also add that provincial fishing permits do not allow access to Gitxad, Adat, or Lakyip, and kindly request that fisher people check their maps. During the previous week, we covered a story in which a local business owner was allegedly attacked and seriously injured inside his place of work, and the perpetrator was charged with assault and quickly released. We reached out to MLA Claire Rattay to get her take on the situation.
On May 6, 2025, Noman Khan was in an altercation with a patron of the Days Inn Hotel, which ultimately led to what he says was a brutal physical attack from behind. Khan was very seriously injured. The perpetrator was charged with assault and released. Khan is seeking additional charges of aggravated assault, as well as uttering threats and causing mischief. MLA Claire Rattay says she's meeting with the RCMP to discuss.
So what I can say is that I'm meeting with the RCMP later today to discuss this issue and a few others that constituents have brought forward. But it speaks to a bit of a deeper issue that we have right now around our justice system. And we've seen, certainly in Terrace here, the effects of poor policies when it comes to bail, when it comes to repeat offenders. And so I think that a lot of people in the community are quite frustrated. We've seen issues around, break and enters and vandalism to properties. It's been very difficult on the small business community, and obviously he's also a business owner himself. I know that, his family is absolutely distraught. It's been very emotionally taxing on him and his family and his staff, and nobody should have to feel unsafe going to work.
Rattay says that dealing with bail and repeat offenders falls under the federal government, and she's hoping to see new bail reform laws come forth with the new government. However, she says her goal is to work with the federal government to make sure the issue is a priority.
I just want to get a better understanding of what happened and why the decision was made to lay the charges the way that they did. I think that frequently we see charges being laid that, in my opinion, are not as severe as they should be, because perhaps there's a sense of realizing that if they go with what the charges that should be, that would be the most appropriate, they may not get a conviction. And so, again, I think that's the deeper issue of we need some serious reform when it comes to some of the federal laws. And so that would be kind of my goal, is to be able to work with my federal counterpart on trying to make sure that the federal government is taking this seriously and that it's a priority for them.
And sticking with Skeena MLA Claire Rattay, she wants her constituents to know that although her offices aren't open yet, she is still reachable.
The legislature took over leasing this year, so they've created a new department that handles all of the leasing. And so unfortunately, it is out of our hands. I know that many people in the community are wondering why our office isn't open yet. We have no control over it. We are told when we can actually open. We're being told right now that it sounds like June. So sometime in June, the terrace location will be open, and we are not sure yet on a timeline for Kitimat, but certainly I'll be keeping people updated as we go through my Facebook page. We'll put stuff in the paper and things like that to make sure that people are aware of what's going on, but we're hoping that the first office should be open sometime in June. My phone number, the office phone number, and the office email are posted both on the office itself, on the door there, on all of our social media and things like that. So the best way to reach out is either by phone or email right now, and then obviously once the office is open, people can just drop in if they'd like and speak to us directly there.
Up next is a look at how Prince Rupert's pipe system replacement is coming along. Welcome back. The Thornhill Fire Department is warning the public of a potential scam. They say that it appears that there is a scam going around to local businesses, saying that the local fire department is going to be conducting inspections and needs payment over the phone. The department said in a reminder that local fire departments do not request payments electronically for services. And if you have any questions, please contact your own local fire department. Up next, we look to a report that dives into how Prince Rupert's cruise season is shaping out to this point, as well as what ships will be coming by in the near future. The city of Prince Rupert relies quite heavily on its cruise ship season as a method of attracting new customers from outside their jurisdiction to their local businesses, and by proxy, helping the city improve its overall revenue stream. And in a recent interview with the mayor of Prince Rupert, he talked a bit about how the cruise ship season had gone for them to this point.
It's so very, very early in the season, but the response has been very good. There's sort of more and more every year for people to do, and of course we get more seasoned. Our tour guides, our bus operators, all of those tour operators, and certainly from what I've been witnessing, it's been pretty successful.
The Prince Rupert Cruise Port is coming off of a successful 2024 season that saw them reportedly draw in a total of over 59,000 passengers and a total of 43 ship calls, while also achieving milestones like adding 12 excursions and 2 immersive experiences to the options available for people to take part in while hanging out at the port. There are also a couple of options to look at online for anyone looking to get a better idea of what ships and/or cruise lines will be showing up at the port, how many passengers they hold, and at what times they'll be arriving at.
If it's not on our website, it would be on the port's website. The Prince Rupert Port Authority would have princerupertport.com.
As for what the city's ship schedule for the rest of this month looks like, the Ruby Princess will appear this Friday at the port at about 7 a.m. and leave at around 2 p.m. May 27th will see 2 ships dock at the port, with the Oceania Riviera arriving at 7 a.m. and departing at 5 p.m. and the Seabourn Quest will get there at 8 a.m. before leaving at 11 p.m. And lastly, on May 30th, the Serenade of the Seas will have the same 7 a.m. arrival and 5 p.m. departure as the Oceania Riviera. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cael Maslin. Prince Rupert's pipe system replacement project has been in the works for some time now. CFTK-TV looked into how the project is looking at this moment in time. One of the most pressing problems that has been facing the city of Prince Rupert for quite some time has been their long outdated water and sewage distribution systems, although the city was finally able to start working on fixing that issue earlier this year. And in an interview with the mayor of Prince Rupert, Herb Pond, he gave an update on how the pricey project was going now that we're almost halfway through 2025.
So it's a huge project, $200 million project. It has gone a little bit delayed and over budget. We're not surprised by that. When you look at the timeline it takes to raise the money and the holding time to get to actual construction, price of pipe goes up, price of labor goes up. So it's not something we want. Obviously, we want to see it stretch every dollar as far as we can. And we have asked staff to look at various ways to see how they can bring the cost down and extend that money so that it goes as far as it possibly can.
As far as when all of the work will actually be finished, Mayor Pond also provided a bit of an estimate, although for anyone hoping that it would be done in relatively short order, that hope has been dashed.
We're at least 2 years more construction. They've been underway. A lot of the work that's been done to date has been out of sight. It's been around Shawatlands Road, where people can't see. We're now moving into people's neighborhoods. They know we're there. We're out knocking on doors saying, hey, we're coming next week into your neighborhood. And so it's become much more visible, but it'll be very present in the community for at least 2 more years.
Some of the places in Prince Rupert that either are or were slated to undergo such construction in the near future includes the back half of Crestview, 11th Avenue, Conrad and Victoria Street, parts of Hayes Cove Avenue, as well as Alfred and Bacon Street. Restrictions to parking and disruptions to driveway access will also likely be present when work on the project is taking place, and planned construction hours are from 7 a.m. until 5:30 p.m., while also taking place 7 days a week. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cael Maslin. After the break, we look at the outcome of a letter sent by several environmental organizations to the Prime Minister. Welcome back. A group of environmental organizations recently sent an open letter to Prime Minister Mark Carney addressing the desire for a BC-based fisheries minister. CFTK-TV investigated the reasoning as well as the outcome of this request. Prior to the post-election cabinet shuffle that took place earlier this week, the Skinaweld Conservation Trust teamed up with the Watershed Watch Salmon Society and the Rain Coast Conservation Foundation to create an open letter that asked for new Prime Minister Mark Carney to appoint someone from BC to the position of Fisheries Minister, with the belief that someone from the province would be best equipped to navigate the current challenges facing Pacific fisheries. But as was revealed in a later interview, the letter's creation was a bit more spontaneous than you may have expected it to be.
It was a fairly last-minute decision, and we knew that we could quickly get support from these other 2 groups to for this ask. And if we had more time, if we'd gotten on it sooner, we would have probably had a lot more groups signing on. We heard in other media interviews, we heard support for this from the BC Wildlife Federation, and from the fishermen's representative from the Fishermen's Union out of Prince Rupert. So I think there's really broad cross-sector support from British Columbians for having good West Coast representation in Ottawa on fisheries.
And while the letter didn't lead to its desired outcome, with Newfoundland's Joanne Thompson retaining the position that she had only been in for a few months, the BC organization still believed that she'll be competent in the role. In the meantime, those organizations who already work closely together still have their own plans to help out with the problems facing BC fisheries.
There are some really important issues facing wild salmon across BC and in the Northwest in particular. Again, Alaskan interceptions being at the top of the list, and so we are pushing really hard for our government to take a strong approach to negotiations with the Americans in the treaty process. Also looking for alignment with our neighbors in Washington and Oregon, who are also having their fish hammered by the Alaskan fleets, and then working outside of the treaty process to raise awareness amongst consumers of Alaskan salmon that they're not as sustainable as people might think they are, and to try to put pressure on the Alaskans through that route to get them to back off on killing so many of our fish and to bringing more modern management to their fisheries.
The wild salmon economy can be worth upwards of around $100 million in the Northwest region, and Skinaweld believes that it's of absolute importance that BC has strong representation to secure our wild salmon and both protect the industry and the cultural value of the fish for everyone who depends on them. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cael Maslin. The Canadian Coast Guard has officially confirmed that a lighthouse keeper that was on duty at the Triple Island Light Station west of Prince Rupert was found deceased after they didn't respond to multiple contact attempts by the Coast Guard. A Coast Guard helicopter that was nearby then went to conduct a wellness check, but the pilot found the lightkeeper unresponsive, and emergency health services later pronounced the individual as deceased at the scene. They say most lighthouses in BC have 2 keepers maintaining them, but the deceased was alone because of a shift change. While the RCMP have finished their investigation into the death, both the Canadian Coast Guard and Employment and Social Development Canada are still looking into it. The Coast Guard also expressed their condolences to the individual's family and friends. Not too long ago, Brian Downey of the Rotary Club of Terrace received the honor of winning the Outstanding Rotarian of the Year award for District 5040, which covers over 50 Rotary clubs throughout the Sunshine Coast, the Greater Vancouver area, the Cariboo, and Highway 16 west of Prince George, and all the way to Prince Rupert. It's the first time ever that someone from the Terrace Rotary Club has managed to take home this prestigious award. Downey received the award at this year's district conference, which was held at the River Rock Casino Resort in Richmond. The Terrace Rotary Club has since expressed publicly how happy they are that Brian won the award, while Mr. Downey also gave his own thoughts on getting that honor.
He's been a part of the club now for over, I think, 3 decades, and he adheres very well to the service among, the Rotarian principles of service above self, dedication to the community. He's just a hard-working Rotarian, and we can't think of anybody who deserves the honor more.
I was totally surprised, humbled by the recognition. The award really reflects success of Rotary in the community and the Rotary Club, and the opportunity we have to give back to the community, to provide service, to be part of to bring partners together to do good things. So I'm just pleased to be part of that.
Still to come, a major hospital is closing one of its units for quite some time. There's been a new turn in the healthcare worker crisis as a major hospital is shutting the door of one of its units for a significant amount of time. Here's CTV's Craig Krause with the details.
The doctor shortage plaguing this province has hit another community. Interior health officials are being forced to close the Kelowna General Hospital's 10-bed inpatient general pediatrics unit. This is starting Monday for at least 6 weeks. So the executive medical director, Dr. Hussam Azam, told CTV News in a statement that they are reallocating current pediatricians to support the neonatal intensive care unit and high-risk deliveries. During this time, Dr. Azam says all critical care services for children are open, including the emergency department and neonatal intensive care unit. The service interruption will only impact children who require admission to the general pediatric unit. According to Dr. Azam, those requiring care for a child should still visit Kelowna General Hospital, where they will be assessed by an emergency room physician. Changes that Kelowna Mission MLA Gavin Dew tells me the BC NDP needs to take action as kids will be out of school soon while tourists flood the area for summer break.
What are going to be the implications for other hospitals that are already overwhelmed? What we have with this healthcare crisis is you're squeezing a balloon in one place and it gets bigger in another, and then you squeeze it there, and eventually it's going to pop.
And I reached out to the Minister of Health for comment and have yet to hear back. Interior health officials say they are working on recruiting pediatricians and are looking at additional changes to compensation models. They'll have 1 new pediatrician starting this summer. Craig Krause, CTV News, Vancouver.
A concerning string of violent attacks in the Vancouver area have resulted in an arrest. However, it's one of many concerning assaults that have happened in BC lately. Here's CTV's Martin McMahon with more.
The details on this are highly concerning. There's a pool nearby, the beach, of course, and even a playground. And you can just imagine how busy this area was on a holiday Monday. A woman was in a change room near the pool when she was choked and sexually assaulted. Police have arrested and charged 35-year-old Hartley Ronald Duckhorn with a series of offenses, including sexual assault with a weapon.
Obviously a very serious stranger attack that occurred in a public place. The washroom or changing room at a public beach, and we're thankful that we were able to respond as quickly as we did to get that suspect into custody.
Duckhorn pleaded guilty to an unrelated sexual assault in Surrey in 2021, and that wasn't the only random violence in recent days. Police revealed that a 70-year-old man was assaulted Friday afternoon near Homer and West Pender Street. He was sent to hospital. Derek James McFeeters has been charged with 1 count of assault. He has a long criminal record, including being found guilty of manslaughter in 2011. Vancouver police also providing an update on another troubling attack. Peter Hans Nungu has been released into the community, where he is under house arrest. He's the man accused of attacking a tourist last month in Cole Harbour. Nungu was out on bail at the time, awaiting a court date for allegedly attacking a peace officer days earlier. While some may scoff at house arrest, this lawyer insists the bail system is working.
We have bail because we presume people to be innocent, and clearly it's a serious case. But the answer is not to remove the presumption of innocence and detain people without trial.
As for this most recent stranger attack, Duckhorn remains in custody pending a bail hearing. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Now over to southeastern BC, where the ordered cull of hundreds of ostriches has caused significant controversy after the ostrich farmers fought the order. CTV's Andrew Johnson reports.
An ostrich farm in the BC interior is drawing protesters from across the country, trying to save its flock of 400 ostriches.
Our hearts are full, and it just helps, obviously, all those hugs and encouraging words from kind people of people across Canada that have come here.
The CFIA ordered the birds destroyed in December after the discovery of avian flu, a grim process that's played out at farms across Canada to try to stop the spread to other farms, animals, and humans. More than 14 million birds have been killed. The ostrich farm fought the order in court, stalling it for months. Now the owners say the surviving birds are healthy.
This doesn't make sense. Let's retest these animals. Let's look at us like a recovered flock.
Last week, a judge sided with the CFIA, greenlighting the cull the federal agency says will go ahead, a decision that has angered activists and even has the premier expressing frustration.
What's hard to watch is a lack of discretion and ability to evaluate case-by-case scenarios.
In a statement, the federal agency says, allowing a domestic poultry flock known to be exposed to avian influenza to remain alive allows a potential source of the virus to persist. It would increase the possibility of reassortment or mutation. An infectious disease expert calls this an ethical dilemma, but believes a cull should still go ahead.
It's very dangerous to set a precedent to say we're just going to refuse to comply with this CFIA order. I have a tremendous amount of empathy in this case because it feels, inherently unfair and arguably even unethical to have to put down these animals that for all intents and purposes seem healthy. The problem is if everybody does that, though, it creates a huge amount of increased risk.
The CFIA is not sharing when exactly the cull will go ahead. Protesters at the farm trying to save the birds are promising to stick around. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
A dump truck has been impounded by the Burnaby RCMP after police found the driver impaired during a commercial vehicle check. Police say officers were conducting inspections on Marine Way in South Burnaby on May 6th when a dump truck was stopped. The vehicle check on the truck found 17 violations, including 5 that were serious enough to individually render the truck out of service, and resulted in nearly $1,600 worth of fines. Police say the driver was given a 90-day driving suspension, and the truck was impounded for 30 days. That wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. Make sure to tune into our regular newscasts on Monday at 5, 6, 6:30, and 11 o'clock here on CFTK-TV. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good weekend.